Hello and welcome to week 4 of May 2025's Coffee and Card with textured notes. I'm Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk and here's the card we're making today. So we're very muted today. So I'm actually using the basic beige for our sort of writing layer, if you like. This brings back lovely memories of 70s fabric for some reason. Probably our old sofa. It was darker than this, but certainly this texture. Anyway, I digress. So we're doing some tone-on-tone stamping. So I'm using Crumb Cake and Early Espresso today. And the dies I'm using, I have not written down which ones they are. Right, let's have a look. Oh, we've got an aeroplane coming across. Sorry about that. So we are using die number 2, die number 4 and die number 5. Okay, so that's 2, 4 and 5. Now you will notice this die, which is cut with die number 2, is a lot smaller than that, so I'll show you how to do that. I wasn't sure that I'd be able to do that with this die set, but actually it nests really well. It settles back into the die incredibly well, so it's lovely. Very simple to change the length of your die. You could probably even make it longer. You can certainly make it shorter. Okay, so let's get started. So as I say, you're on the woven piece from the woven textures. We're going to use the cream or the basic beige the dots from the neutral matte dots. So we're using those today. So you'll need your sheet from the pack I've given you. Excuse me, loads of pieces today because we've got lots of layers. So I've already cut these 2 out from the Early Espresso and the Crumb Cake, so you need to cut those 2 out. And then I've got 2 pieces of basic beige, one for the front, one for inside, and I think, yeah, they're 14.4 by 10 centimetres each. All the measurements are below as usual. And then we have your standard Early Espresso card base, so 21 centimetres, 14.85, scored at 10.5. And then you've a couple more pieces of the basic beige. One is to go, so the bigger one is going under this piece here. And then the smaller one is for your sentiment. Okay, right, so we'll do some stamping first. If I can find my piece that I die cut, which is there. So that's the Crumb Cake. I'll pop everything over to one side. And let's get our stamping done. That doesn't need stamping, this does need stamping. That's just a layer. Right, okay, so I'll show you how to do this first. Okay, so I've mentioned all along about these stamps that sometimes we get the tendency to get a halo because it's quite generous with the rubber around the stamp. I've already cut because this was hugely generous. I think it was maybe slightly offset because it's very close on that side. So I've actually cut that edge off. So when you're inking up, just check before you stamp that you've no halos. And just wipe them away with your little cloth if you have. Right, so let's just, yep, I've still managed to catch the bottom there. So I'm just coming in just to remove that to make my image clear. It's funny how certain stamp sets just do that and others we have absolutely no problems with at all. Right, okay, so I'm going to stamp that roughly in the middle. Thank you. And then I am going to get my die. Let's put those out of the way because I'm going to get the machine. So I'm getting die number 2 with this sort of fancy pattern. And I'm just putting that in place on my thank you. And I basically just want to cut this end. Okay, so I shall explain. I'm getting my machine. Right. Okay. And Just going to pop that in the machine at a slight angle so it's not hitting it dead on, but I'm only going to go up to about here on the rollers. Okay, so you want to go in the machine, but you're not going to go all the way across. You want to make sure you've gone across the end there and then come back again. Okay, then before removing your tape, which is doing week 4, yes, I've got all the 2 corners there, which is what I want, right? So take this off. Okay, and then I am just going to trim this bit off because I want to be able to nestle the die in place. So I'm just taking off that end, okay? So you've got your piece partially die cut out. So now what I'm going to do is, starting roughly where I want to be, I'm just going to move that around until I find, there it is, where it settles in to the die. Okay, so it's settled in just there. So I'll show you again. So that's not moving, lift it off, sliding all over. So just gently move it till it settles. Watch it not find it now. There we go. I'm just gently pressing it in. So now it's in the die again. Tape it just to be sure. And this time you want to get to the edges. So you don't want to go all the way over the end again. Okay. So you can use where you cut as a bit of a guide. So I'm going to go through. And if you're using the tape, it does mean that you do need to use the tape, to be honest, because you can check whether you've gone far enough. Okay, not quite there. Can you see? I need to go a bit further on that side, so I'm just actually angling it the other way so it hits that area first. It is a really forgiving technique, to be honest, as long as you, because the die holds it, but it really does need the tape. I'm just going a bit further, but not right to the end. Probably covered that with my arm then. Okay, have another look. Yes, you can see I've cut all that away now. And then let's pop this away and I shall do my ta-da moment. There we go. So if I lift that off, take the tape off, and there you go. How cool is that? So you've got the perfect piece. And don't forget with my videos, because you're watching, well, I don't do them live, I pre-record and upload, you can actually backwards and forwards over that bit to see, you know, if you need to look at it again. But that's how you get that shape from that die. Okay, right, so to stamp. Okay, so I started off with my beautiful, you know I love this one. So I'm going to stamp the basket weave twice. So once near the bottom, going just over halfway. Okay, and I'm in Crumb Cake here, and then I'm just going to turn it over and repeat that. So in roughly the same place. Okay, doesn't matter if they overlap. I think it's quite nice if they overlap, to be honest. Okay, and then I'm going to do my sprig. Now, I was thinking I might just stamp this twice just to see if I can get a bit more depth. So I'm going to pop it onto my stamping platform. So get the little one out, and we need to lose the foam. Oh, we also appear to have lost a magnet. Oh, it's there. Panic over. So, and I'm just going to pop that in here. Okay, and then add my leaves where I want them. So probably about there. I think I'm just going to pick them up. I've Just see what happens when I stamp it with the early espresso twice. The trouble with these stamps is you don't want your pad to be too juicy because you lose the detail. But I want the contrast between the crumb cake and the early espresso. So that's once. And that's twice. So you can see it's that bit darker. So I'm quite happy with that it stands out more. But I've still got the detail from the stamp. Okay. Right, so we just need to assemble the card. Let's put this away. Right, so we're going to layer up first of all. So we're layering these 3 pieces together, and I've just done them with glue. I've just glued together. So, did I check? Yeah, we're straight enough. Right, so I'm going to... I love the way we take a blank piece of card and still turn it over to add glue. Not get glue on there. So that'll just lay in there. The measurement for this is 9.8 by 5.9 to fit in this section here. Again, the measurements will be on the details below, but that's how big that one is. That's 9.8 by 5.9. And then, as I say, these rectangles are for American sizes, so probably are in inches. I might even have taken that down to a 9.7. Have a play. Right, okay. And then this is going on dimensionals, but let's get this piece. So this piece is 13.9 by 9.5. Again, sisal matting on the other side. So, and then I need my other pieces, which are over here. Right, so that's just going to go on there. I'm just measuring these again. Yeah, they are. That's actually 9.8. It's not 10. So it's 9.8 by 14.4, which gives you a narrower border here, and a slightly wider here, which is what I was looking for. The correct measurements will be underneath. Okay, so popping that on there with a very narrow border because it's going against the early espresso, so you'll be able to see it. Do like my wet glue because it gives me a bit of wriggle room. Just a few seconds just to straighten everything out. There we go. And we'll glue that on the front here. Okay, and then we need this piece, and this piece is going up on dimensionals. So we're on the bones. Scissors. Let's put that one down. Actually, just cut it into threes because we don't need it all the way down the side. Oops. Does stick to my gel nails very well. So 1, 2, 3 pieces, and then I'll cut this in half and we'll use it for the other corners. So 1 there. And 1 at the bottom. See? Waste not, want not. And then these 2. And I'm just going to put that at a jaunty angle, channeling my inner Jeff, who's a gentleman card maker who comes to my friend's classes, Liz. So Jeff always does things a little bit different and does like things on the bulk. There we go. I went about middle-ish, didn't I? There we are. It just gives it a bit extra interest, doesn't it? And then I just pop some glue on this side, right hand side, on the back, but not on the left because that's overhanging. Just had it overhanging the side slightly, just for more interest as well. And then using the Basic Beige neutral matte dots, just add some. And this time I think I'm going to put 1 at the bottom here and then 2 over on that corner. Come on, they are. I am chasing these around this week. Oops. 1 there and then 1 below it. There we go. So there we are, card number 4 done. So I hope you enjoyed that and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.